Let's be totally honest with each other for a second. Most of us are walking around completely suffocated by our own complexity. We wake up to calendars that are packed tighter than a rush hour subway in Tokyo. We're out here trying to be absolutely everything to everyone, chasing a dozen different ambitions at the exact same time. And where does it usually end? Usually, it ends with us collapsed on the couch at 1 a.m., our eyes glued to our screens, doom scrolling through reels, and just wondering why our day-to-day life feels like an endless, exhausting treadmill that we can't figure out how to step off. But here is the unfiltered, honest truth, and I really want you to hear this. Life is nowhere near as complicated as we force it to be. Seriously, there is a single, uncompromising philosophy that if you actually try it out starting today, will instantly declutter your entire existence. I'll give you the exact principle in a second, but first, we need to talk about the trap we're all stuck in. You see, human brains secretly crave a little bit of chaos. Our society glorifies being busy and wearing exhaustion like a badge of honor. If you don't actively put a leash on that instinct, you're going to spend your whole life spinning your wheels and going nowhere fast. So, what's the secret sauce? What's the philosophy? Here it is. Subtract the noise and execute the absolute essentials at a world-class level. That's it. Subtract, then master. It sounds super basic, right? But trust me, it's lethal. Because the very moment you start living this way, your entire trajectory flips. Think about how most people operate today. It's like watching a chef frantically trying to cook a 5-course gourmet banquet using a single tiny camping stove. There's a ton of motion, sweat, and panic, but ultimately, the food is just going to burn. The rare few people who actually unlock massive success, and more importantly, inner peace, are masters of subtraction. They pick a few crucial targets and they just go incredibly deep. And this isn't just a self-help cliche. This principle scales all the way up to massive global corporations. Just look at Lego back in the early 2000s. They were bleeding cash, literally standing on the absolute brink of bankruptcy. Do you know what the turnaround CEO did to save the company? He didn't panic and invent a bunch of crazy new toy lines. Instead, he took a machete to their inventory. He ruthlessly slashed their unique part count from nearly 13,000 different pieces down to roughly 7,000. He killed off all those bizarre experimental side projects and went right back to their core bread and butter, the classic plastic brick. Complexity was burying them alive, and subtraction saved them. Within a decade, they bounced back to become the most profitable toy manufacturer on the planet. Why? Because they simply did less, but they did it flawlessly. But hey, most of us aren't running billion-dollar toy empires. So let's bring it back to you and me. Take a second and really analyze your own daily friction. How much of your baseline anxiety comes from just trying to spin way too many plates? Think about it. Too many app subscriptions, too many reluctant social obligations, too many fragmented, half-baked ambitions. We all have that internal monologue. Okay, this year I'm going to train for a triathlon, start a brand new AI agency, finally learn Mandarin, master the art of sourdough baking, read a book every single week, and oh yeah, post 3 times a day on YouTube. Plus, I obviously need to maintain a flawless dating life. Stop, take a breath. You really don't need to pile more onto your plate. What you actually need is a much smaller plate. Whatever you do choose to keep on it, though, has to be executed with absolute, undeniable excellence. Now, naturally, the FOMO is going to kick in hard here. You might be thinking, but if I limit my options, aren't I just going to fall behind everyone else? Absolutely not. In fact, you are actually pulling way ahead. Extraordinary results have never come from spreading yourself paper thin over 20 different hobbies. They come from taking a laser beam and concentrating it intensely on just 2 or 3 things. Let me share a quick story from my own life, because I've been exactly where you might be right now. In my early 20s, I desperately tried to be the ultimate poster child for modern hustle culture. I was working a seriously demanding marketing job, taking coding boot camps at night, trying to meal prep like I was some competitive bodybuilder, and literally forcing myself to show up at every single networking event in my city. Want to guess the result? Total, catastrophic system failure. I was perpetually exhausted, highly irritable, and honestly, failing at literally everything I touched. My brain felt exactly like a web browser that had 84 tabs open. Music was playing from some unknown source, and I couldn't figure out how to stop it. Then, I finally hit a breaking point. I realized something huge. If I just put some blinders on, I might actually make tangible progress in one direction. So, I grabbed a metaphorical axe and started chopping. I dropped the coding classes. I completely skipped the networking mixers. I narrowed my entire universe down to just 2 non-negotiable things: excelling at my day job and actually getting 8 hours of sleep. The shift was like magic. It was instantaneous. The mental fog just evaporated. I got promoted. My physical health completely rebounded, and for the first time in years, that humming baseline anxiety was totally gone. The less I tried to juggle, the more I actually caught. And listen, this isn't just my personal productivity hack. It's literally the blueprint for building empires. Think about Google way back in the late 1990s. While rival web portals like Yahoo and MSN were frantically cramming their homepages with flashy weather widgets, live sports scores, scrolling stock tickers, and blinking banner ads, Google did the exact opposite. They offered a blank, stark white page with a single search bar in the middle. That's it. They mastered one specific, highly valuable function. If they had tried to be a chaotic news outlet, a weather channel, and an email provider right out of the gate on day one, we probably wouldn't even remember their name today. Mastering that one singular task is what built the firm foundation for a trillion-dollar ecosystem later on. So, how do we actually get into the mechanics of this? How do you install this subtract and master philosophy into your own brain without completely short-circuiting? It really comes down to 3 steps. Step 1. Isolate the vital few. You need to sit down with a coffee and ask yourself a pretty confronting question. What are the 2 distinct levers that will actually shift the trajectory of my life right now? If you are trying to build wealth, maybe it's just mastering high-ticket sales and nailing your cold outreach. If you're trying to fix your health, maybe it's as simple as tracking your daily protein and making sure you hit those 10,000 steps. Forget the infinite loop of crazy productivity hacks. What is the absolute core? Try this little exercise today. Write down your current list of goals and ambitions. Now ask yourself, if I could only achieve one single victory on this list over the next 12 months, which one would have the biggest, most explosive impact on my life? Draw a massive circle around it. That right there is your mission. Everything else on that paper? It's just background noise. Step 2. The ruthless chop. Let's be real. If something isn't essential, it is actively harming your progress. Every single time you say yes to some mediocre obligation, you are forcefully saying no to something profound. Do you want real tranquility? You have to get comfortable with disappointing people. No, I cannot join that steering committee. No, I am not co-founding another startup with you right now. No, I'm not buying another online course until I actually finish the last one. I love using the Derek Sivers framework for this. He says, if an opportunity doesn't make you scream, "Hell yes," then it is an absolute no. Stop operating your life out of guilt. Guard your calendar like a hawk guarding its nest. Step 3. Obsess over mastery. Once your plate is cleared of all the junk, guess what? You have 0 excuses left not to be absolutely phenomenal at what remains. Less volume equals hyperfocus. Hyperfocus breeds elite quality. And elite quality is exactly what the market rewards. Look at Bruce Lee. He didn't run around trying to win Olympic medals in fencing, wrestling, and boxing all at the same time. He dedicated every single waking breath to his specific martial arts philosophy, and he became an immortal icon because of it. Look at Gordon Ramsay. He isn't out here trying to be a car mechanic, a software developer, and a pop singer on the weekends. He is a laser-focused maestro of the kitchen. Nobody cares if you are a C+ at 40 different things. The world only remembers the masters of one. Now, let's address the uncomfortable elephant in the room. Decluttering your life is not a walk in the park. In fact, it actually hurts sometimes. Saying no causes social friction. Giving up alternate identities or hobbies you thought you wanted is a literal grieving process. But guys, that is the toll you have to pay for true freedom and immense leverage. Minimalism isn't just about having a sterile, boring living room with one chair. It is the ruthless defense of your cognitive bandwidth. Because when your attention is fragmented, you are always operating in a state of deficit. But when you adopt this subtraction mindset, you become incredibly light. Decisions become effortless. You aren't paralyzed choosing between 100 paths. You are confidently walking down one. By the way, just real quick, if you're finding value in untangling your mind right now, tap that subscribe button. My entire mission on this channel is to cut through the modern static and hand you pure signal. Let's get back into it. Let's inject this philosophy directly into the 3 major pillars of your life: work, health, and relationships. Work. The modern office worker is practically drowning in fake productivity, endlessly replying to Slack messages, sitting through useless status update meetings, and constantly tweaking slide decks that no one will ever read. But the top 1% of performers? They locate the one high-leverage action and they attack it relentlessly. If you are a writer, your leverage is sitting down for deep work and typing words. If you are a founder, it's building a product that actually solves a painful problem. The Pareto principle dictates that 80% of your ultimate success stems from just 20% of your actions. You have to identify that golden 20% and mercilessly ignore all the bureaucratic fluff. Health. Please, for the love of everything, delete the hyper-complex biohacking protocols. You do not need a $500 continuous glucose monitor, a pop-up infrared sauna tent in your living room, a 4 a.m. raw liver smoothie, or a specialized breathwork coach. It's getting absurd. Just lift heavy things, Walk outside in the sun, eat single-ingredient foods, and get your 8 hours of sleep. That's it. Master those 4 primitive habits, and you will physically outperform 95% of the population. Stop letting the fitness industry paralyze you with over-optimization. Protect the basics. Relationships. We are all so socially overextended right now. People try to maintain snap streaks and superficial interactions with 300 casual acquaintances, yet deep down, they feel completely hollow and lonely. Why? Because true intimacy requires depth, not breadth. You don't need an army of followers. You need 4 absolute loyalists who will drop everything and show up at the hospital for you at 2 a.m. Stop performing for the crowd. Start pouring your soul into the few people who actually anchor you. Your social life becomes infinitely richer the moment you accept that not everyone has earned a VIP pass to your energy. That is the formula, my friends. Subtract the noise and execute the essentials at a world-class level. Your ego will probably hate it. Society will definitely actively discourage it. Your peers will continue to wear their exhaustion like a badge of honor, bragging at dinner parties about how chronically busy they are. Let them. You will be operating in a flow state, completely unbothered, producing master classes in whatever you do. Trust me on this. Once you cross over to this side of the fence, you will never, ever look back. When your world feels way too heavy, just remember, it isn't a lack of time, it is a surplus of distractions. Cut the fat, narrow your gaze, and watch how smoothly everything starts to run. And the ultimate reward? It doesn't just make your life easier, it makes it deeply resonant. When your energy isn't fractured into 1,000 tiny pieces, you can actually taste the life you are living. You are no longer frantic. You are anchored. You are present. And ultimately, that is where true fulfillment lives. That's the mandate. Subtract to multiply. Now go clear your slate and watch everything change.